Good evening, beautiful people, and welcome to Property Auction Hunters live stream. And this evening we are joined by the glorious Olivia Boulting, Queen of the Gavel, is joining us this evening. And as always, we have Saif Derzi, no less a legend, and Piotr, who is definitely a certified legend. You have myself, Jay Howard, and today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. But to give you a quick roundup, we're going to be talking about how to do deals at auction. We're going to be talking about Olivia's last auction and the successes that she had there. And we're going to be talking about the last Portugal property trading retreat. And we're going to discuss a little bit about the next one and what people can expect from that. But before we do that, introductions, because that's the polite way to do things. And we will kick off with Olivia. Do you introduce yourself to the audience?
Okay, yeah. So obviously, Olivia, I work for Auction House Southwest as the auctioneer and regional manager. Me in a nutshell.
Okay. And you're the queen of the gavel.
Oh, and yeah, queen of the gavel, self-proclaimed.
How did you get that, by the way? So what's
we have royalty on the show.
Yeah.
Saif, do you want to introduce yourself?
Go ahead, Saif.
Yeah, so my name's Saif Derzi. I am a property trader, so buy and sell properties. We also have a cash buying company called Property Buys Today. So a lot of what we do is auction exit for selling our deals.
Excellent. Piotr?
Amazing. So we're property traders. We also help people buy and sell properties in auctions through Hammered and also the Auction Buyers Club. And that's it. We're authors of this book. Before the hammer. I was
about to say we always forget to mention the book, and the book is bloody amazing. Okay, so my name is Jay Howard. I was formerly the manager of Auction House London for their auctions, headhunted by Auction House UK for their business development, and I spent since 2002 buying and selling and trading properties at auction and managing a private family office of 3.3 billion. So we have a varied degree of experience here from all parts of the country and in different directions. So it's going to be a fun evening. Please start putting questions in the chat. There should be a comment section. You can start putting questions in there, because at the end of the live stream, we're going to answer people's questions. We're going to put everybody in a bit of a hot seat.
Jay, could we start off with why Olivia has the name Queen of the Gavel? I'm just interested. I'm intrigued more than anything. What the story behind that?
Good place to start.
I don't even know where that came from, to be fair. It is something individual, isn't it? I don't think there's that many female auctioneers. So it's nice to rep on that side. Puts us on the
So is that kind of how people know you now? Like, is that your branding? Is that generally sort of what people call you?
Yeah, snowball from there. It is still very strange when I turn up to someone's house for evaluation and they call me that straight away.
You've probably been called worse things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, I know, because when I speak to people and then I might mention your name, Olivia, and they're like, "Oh, Queen of the Gavel." So like people do refer to that because that is obviously your title on Instagram, right? So that's how people know you as. So yeah, it's really good to kind of have that catchy theme. How did you get into auctioneering, just out of interest? Like, what brought you into auctioneering and what brought you into the world of auctioneering?
Well, I joined Auction House, be 4 years next month. And I worked with a gentleman who was running the Devon and Cornwall brand down here. He left after about a year. So I had a very, very supportive team who basically said, "Do I want to try my hand at it?" And so it was never anything that I decided I really wanted to go into. I really liked doing deals. I liked valuing. And I thought, just give it a shot. It was very much in that mindset of saying yes and just seeing. And then I just fell in love. And then sort of took over from there, really. So that's kind of how it worked.
Amazing. Yeah, and I think a lot of what you've been doing is obviously not only because you're a woman in the auction world, which is obviously we don't see loads of them, and we certainly start to see. I think East Anglia has, is it 1 or 2? We're starting to see a lot more coming into that, but especially we've not seen an auctioneer as a woman. So I think that's quite unique and that's quite interesting, and I think you're paving the way for that. But I also think the biggest thing is your drive and tenacity to want to be a really good auctioneer. Like I just see so many auctioneers nowadays, and this week we've seen so many different auctions happen And I've seen so many auctioneers which just stick properties on Rightmove on their website and just they're expecting that properties are going to sell. And then I've seen auctioneers like yourself and a few others which have actually gone out to get the business, calling every registered bidder, just doing what proper auctioneers should do. And I feel like we're lacking that these days. And I feel like maybe A, you've got a point to prove, and B, you know, you're just very much in that mindset of you want to do a good job for all of your clients as well. So just tell us a bit about that. Like what goes through your generally through your office when it is auction day or the couple of days leading up into auction day as well, just out of interest?
I think especially where I am, and obviously I'm based down in Devon, and as much as we've had auctions here for obviously donkey's years, it was very much old school auctions, and probably auctions are less common down here as well. So I think when I first started up, the main thing I focused on was the education of auctions and people understanding the benefit of putting properties to auction. And best method of sale. So I spent a huge amount of time going to investment talks, you know, chatting to people. So I think probably my team spend a lot of time guiding buyers, which is better because you have a better idea of what buyers are looking for. You're able to provide a bit more of a handhold kind of process with buyers as well. But it also means that as an auction team, we have more control over that auction day. And I think that's, again, one of the benefits of live stream. So as soon as we went into that, it just gives you a much clearer picture. Obviously, you can't crystal ball everything because there are things that happen on auction day that keep it exciting, but it does give you a better idea on how we can guide the clients. So that's something that I really, really enjoy.
I've seen a couple of your auctions in the past. Like anything that goes click here because it's live on EIG, because EIG is like my home screen. And so I've caught like one or two lots that you've done in the past. I'm just jumping on and off different auctioneers to see what's going on. But I made a concerted effort this week. I sat through the entirety of your auction. I think I'd like disappeared off to make a sandwich or something, but I watched pretty much the whole thing, and it was bloody brilliant. There were like 2 or 3 like standout lots where I thought there's a proper war going on here. You had like lot 1 just instantly stands out as like you must have like, it felt like 5 or 6 bidders, and there were like 2, 3 people that were fighting for it pretty much until the end.
Yeah.
Like, does that ever get boring for you? Was that just amazing?
Yeah, I love it. And it's funny actually, because after, I think it was lot 11 was another standout one that we had, which was that big commercial unit. And when I spoke to the seller afterwards, and he was like, how did you just, you kept a straight face? He was like, why were you not surprised? And I was like, well, I still have to run the auction. Even if I am surprised where the bidding's going, I've still got to carry on. But yeah, I think there's some where they just really stand out and it keeps going, and you can't ever foresee that. And that's probably one of the things I love about auction. Property's only worth as much as it is to that person. So
well, you kind of bucked the trend in that auction, because the last lot was also like a bidding war, right? See, this proves that I watched all the way through. The last lot was an absolute killer, because sometimes like you get to the end of an auction, people have like signed off, people have bought stuff, they've moved on, but you lotted the catalogue really well to have like an interesting lot to finish the day on.
Yeah, that was a brilliant one. And it was a perfect kind of auction stock of, it was a residential refurb opportunity for somebody. It was a good area. We had, a really attractive guide on it, and it is the key to any successful auction lot, is driving enough interest in there that you create that kind of competitive bidding environment. That one definitely had that. So yeah, it was a brilliant one.
I also think just with the kind of, you do have a lot of old school type of vendors down in the Southwest as well. And I think having live stream just makes a big difference, because I know everyone goes through eBay, and obviously you've got that offering anyway, people want it. But I think you need a live stream for that type of audience, because people want to feel it, breathe it, see it, and live in that kind of moment of the auction. So I feel like that does make a big difference down in the Southwest.
I think you live the market.
Yeah, and definitely I feel like, and we've had this conversation before, I definitely feel like you can squeeze extra bidding out of that environment, whereas when it's just in that eBay style, people don't have any interaction. So that works for certain properties, maybe lower value type stock in more popular areas, but I feel like this works really well for the Southwest.
What was your most memorable auction lot that you've kind of stuck in your mind?
What, from this one?
From like this one or overall?
This one, probably those three stood out for me, definitely. Overall, it just depends. I think the nice bit I like is the fact that I do every step of it now. So I do right from the start of meeting the client, doing viewings, and then being able to offer it on the actual auction day. It just kind of, it's that cherry on top for me. So I think, when you really get to know the clients, it's a nice thing. I mean, one that, I think it was lot 2 in that auction. That was a lady that had gone into a care home. So for me, I was dealing with the daughter. There's much more emotion in it. And, probably it was the best sweetener for me was getting an email afterwards to say, this is paid for the care home for the next 4+ years now. So it's just peace of mind for them. And that one was valued, I think, about 30 grand less by 3 different estate agents. So than what we actually achieved on Tuesday. So I think, again, it just shows it was the right process for her. It was stress-free and it got them, the best result they could get. So those ones stand out just because they pull at your heartstrings more and you get to know the client.
So you may have already answered the question, but do you think like the results of your last auction are like reflective of how the market is performing generally? Or, I mean, it sounds like you've beaten market values on a couple of those lots, which is always great to see, right? But how are you seeing that in general? Is it kind of like a positive moving market? Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think one of the things I like to see for me is when I see the obscure, like the pricing where it's down to 250s, because I think it really shows that we've gone down in increments, and you get those kind of odd pricing. I think that shows that we've got every last bid that we can get. I mean, in property types, the commercial, anything that kind of has a residential, do up and sell on type method behind it. I think the buy-to-lets that didn't have as much value, if we want to talk about any negatives, they're probably the ones that struggled the most out of anything in the auction, even when they are sort of the lower price stock. So I think it's having enough of a value add opportunity there that it gets buyers' appetite going.
Yeah, so it's got to have a development angle in reality. I think that's what we're seeing across the board. So owner-occupied stocks doing well, development style stocks are like big commercial units you can convert, etc., big houses. But the buy-to-lets, the terraces, stuff like that, I just feel like it's being let down at the minute for obvious reasons. So pretty much in line with where you see things then generally, Olivia.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. And if someone was bidding in the next auction, what kind of advice would you give to them? That would be like a golden advice from an auctioneer.
There's so many bits. I mean, you can always say read the legal pack, because that is something that I still think it doesn't matter how many times you say that as an auction house. Probably one of the most frustrating things is the morning of the auction when you're getting people ringing and asking queries about the legal pack when they've had that whole time. So that's probably one of the things I'd say don't do to try and wind up the auction house, because you won't be their most favorable person in the world. I think reading the legal pack and just knowing your own game plan, the amount of people I speak to after the auction that just say, oh God, I can't believe they've paid that. But, at the end of the day, you don't know what their game plan is. If they're not planning to resell that back on once it's renovated and they're going to rent it out, it doesn't matter to them what, the current market value is going to be once it's renovated. So I think just don't get carried away in that type of instance.
Yeah, it reminds me of this post I think I said a few days ago on Facebook from Ryanair saying, "Good morning to all passengers who got the collect luggage size." Good morning to all people who've read the legal pack.
Yeah, that is how I feel. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, cool. And so, I mean, one of the things why I wanted to chat with you is because obviously you came to our last property trading retreat in Portugal. And not only that, like you were the only auctioneer there. Like, obviously, it was a trading retreat where like learn how to trade, do this, and meet people who trade. And then Olivia coming in as an auctioneer. Like, what was the biggest takeaway from that retreat and when you came in October?
I think there were so many pluses to it. I think for me on a personal side, having the insight into traders and the way that they think, that was a big difference. I think obviously I can talk about my local area, but obviously because we're probably a little bit more old school in the auctions down here, it's not as prevalent. We don't have that many traders. So, you hear different things. And, for me to kind of actually spend time with traders over a long time, or people wanting to trade, and learning about different creative strategies. You know, it does make you look at every deal differently. So I can 100% see the value for people wanting to get into it. I think being able to spend time with people over that length of time as well has so much value. Because I think you can go to networking events, you can see people at different things, but actually a lot of that is very short time, isn't it? And you don't build up as kind of close a relationship. But I think it's all about people that you know as well, and kind of having that many knowledgeable people within the industry that really know their stuff all together. Yeah, it's invaluable for people. And for me, yeah, it was great. And I got to be the auctioneer, so it was great. I could answer all those questions.
You did have a monopoly there, yes, as an
Yeah.
Just out of interest, Olivia, as well. So pre and post retreat, when people were, say, for example, if a trader was sending you a lot to price up to say, where do you think it will sell for, pre-retreat and post-retreat, would you say you started to kind of change that mindset slightly? Because obviously dealing with a vendor is different than dealing with a trader, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that's changed? And if so, in what kind of way? Just out of interest.
Yeah, I think it has. I think because more so I can put myself in their shoes. So I think you're looking at things a bit more in a business decision. So it's kind of a different way of pricing, isn't it? I think, and you're taking the emotion out of it. You're looking at very much as a business model. And I think being able to see it from both sides means you're in a better position to give them advice as an auctioneer. Yeah,
definitely. Okay, sounds good.
Amazing. And so what, like, coming to the first retreat, what actually like make you come, and what makes you want to come back to this one?
Oh, obviously the monopoly of being the auctioneer again. By getting there first, it's okay. But yeah, no. I mean, it was a great opportunity. So I think obviously I've got to know you guys over the last couple of years as well, which I'm really lucky for. So I think having that, and then seeing how much value I got from it, and the fact it's different people each time as well. There's different speakers and people that are going to come in for this year, come around quickly. So yeah, I think I don't want to miss out on that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, cool. Well, for those of you guys who are watching and you want to find out about the retreat, make sure you click that link below and get in touch with us about it. And it will be in Portugal in April, and all of us will be there. But Olivia, I want to ask you about some of the things about like kind of your views about traders, because like auctioneers sometimes have very allergic reaction to, even though those are like biggest clients sometimes in the auctions, but that also works against them. Don't listen, Saif.
Saif, don't take any of this personally. You're different. You're special.
All off the record. Yeah.
No, like traders, like they're quite influential because obviously they bring a lot of stock, right?
Yeah.
But what's how has your attitude to trading kind of got changed, influenced?
I think that, I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, so when I first joined auctions,
you want that? Yes.
I'm giving the caveat that I'm being very honest, but yeah, when I very first joined auctions, like I'm one of those where I just want to learn everything. And a lot of the auctioneers that I was around, especially down in my area as well, they're very kind of old school auctioneers, used to their in-room way of doing things. Hadn't really ever come across traders other than kind of more national side. So, I didn't hear probably the most positive things in my first couple of years. That was a very nice political way of saying it. But yeah, I never really heard that many good positive things that they could kind of provide. And it was more so everyone would give you kind of warnings of what to watch out for, what to be careful of with traders. So you're so wary of that when you're training to kind of be an auctioneer, and, actually kind of learning the different ways of how they run their businesses and the benefit it has to people. I think there's an opportunity and a place for everything. And I think once you actually understand the process of it, there is definitely a place in the market for it. So, and a need for it as well.
That's right. And
I don't know what you said, Olivia, but you scared Saif right out his back.
I know. I was like, it's bad when he leaves.
He just left. I thought, oh God, what did she say?
Yeah, but I think it's really great. Like one of the reasons why we create this retreat and do things the way we do things is because we want to like train the new generation of traders, because this is like trading can have a bit of a bad name, and the way it's kind of mysterious, and people think that they're being put, that they're like all kind of traps being set up for those naive buyers and stuff like that. But there's actually a way of trading and way of doing things which is it's got solid foundations, and it is a business. It is helping people move move assets that are quite illiquid quickly, and then at the same time positioning things for buyers that want to do refurbishments, do works, to have all kind of reasons why to buy something. So one of the reasons why we do this retreat is to like train those new generations of traders, and also like we work with a lot of people who want to sell, want to trade, and there isn't really information about how to do it properly.
No.
So you probably just know it from either someone you work with, or you just try to work things out yourself over like 5 or 10 years and make all kind of mistakes you can to actually learn it. So it is great to have auctioneers and traders and kind of the whole environment created, so that the deal can happen in the room, right? Because that's the best thing ever.
And I think especially as well since COVID, when you think like obviously I came in during the start of kind of live stream auctions, and the auction industry's expanded so much over the past 4 years. It is become more popular. There's more opportunity for people to do trading. I remember when I first started, and obviously only ever hearing kind of negatives. Actually, when you Google it, there isn't a lot you can find out online about trading, or kind of different ways of trading. That, it is, like you said, very, very limited on information. So yeah, something like the retreat is great, because obviously there are lots of people that want to go into it, and having to hear it from people that are actually successful in what they do and getting the right types of strategies in place that work for them. Really valuable.
Can we also touch on two of the most important things from the retreat as well, or from last retreat anyway? The pizzas on the last day were like phenomenal. So I gave you guys the biggest shout out for the pizzas. And also we had some amazing affogato as well. Ice cream and coffee. If you've not tried it,
I've never had one.
Serious game changer. So yeah, I'll look forward to some new things and educating more of your palates for the next one.
I think my biggest takeaway from the last retreat was, I think it was like the second or third day, one of the guys on the retreat was like, I've seen a houseboat, it's down the road from where I live. And he was like, it was in the last auction, I think it was Auction House London, but it was at 50 and they've now reduced it to 35. Do you think I can buy this for 35? So why do you want a houseboat? He goes, worst case scenario, turn it into the wife's office and give me some peace and quiet and whatever, just like a jovial ha-ha. But we approached Auction House London. I said, look, what's the interest? Like, this is dead. Like, no one's looking at it. The guy paid like 90 something for it a year ago. He needs to move back to Australia or wherever it was he was moving back to. And I said, well, will they do an underwrite for it at the guide price of 35? He said, I'll find out. The next day it was underwritten for 35. The guy then finishes the retreat, really kind of excited, always wanted to do an underwrite, only found out about it by reading the book, right? Gets home, first thing he does once he drops off the bags and kisses the wife and kids, he walks down to the island, the little rivulet where this boat is situated, and knocks on all of the other boats on this little island, because they're all Airbnbs. Not one of them knew that property, that boat was in auction. So he just went around and goes, I saw this is in auction. You're not going to let them sell it for like 35 grand. You're going to want to have another one there. And that's what he did. He created the marketplace around that deal, and it sold for like 76 or something like that. It sold for more than double the guide. He made like £16,000 on an underwrite. So that like paid for his whole thing. He calls me up every once in a while, goes, I want to do another one. So I said, you have to come back on the retreat if you want to do another one of those.
And to be honest, I mean, that's the environment you're in. I mean, obviously there with Olivia, we've sold 2 properties through Olivia's auction, gone this week as well. And we've done a deal with someone that's been to the retreat as well. So it's also trying to just do deals and being in environments where people either lack some kind of resource. So if it's a lack of funding, a lack of knowledge, whatever it is, someone else can have that, and obviously working together, you can get deals done. And I think as a trader, it's all about getting deals done. It's as simple as that. If you can't do deals, then it's not for you.
Indeed, yeah. So that kind of environment. I mean, one of the things that I like the most is when we review the properties in the auctions and stuff, and people can they're like ready to pull the trigger on it, and obviously with the research, with everything else, but they want to do it. It's the best thing ever. So I am looking forward to this next retreat.
Yeah.
As a trader, when you go into any events where there's a trading environment for whatever reason, the biggest thing is as soon as we go home, we go on and try and buy as many properties as we can. You get FOMO, honestly. So when you go to any of these, like I remember when we go to some of the auction house events, the Auction House London events, for example, they do. You kind of go back thinking, bloody hell, there's a lot of people that do what we do. Let's go in, and it's very competitive. Let's go buy some more properties. So that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Good fun.
So Olivia, who do you think this retreat is best for from your experience, obviously having attended one, coming to the next one? Who is it that you would like to see in this room in April? Like what kind of people?
Well, I think motivated people. This is the thing. I think everyone, as much as the people that are coming and they're talking and they're providing their kind of knowledge are so valuable. Actually, the people that are actually going on it, like Saif just said, they're all driven people. They're all people that want to do business. They're there because they want to get into it and, they're hungry for it. I think as long as you've got that type of people, then it's the network and the connections that you build afterwards. I think one of the things I loved was we were all on a group chat, and for weeks afterwards, everyone was still messaging, weren't they, to say, I've done this, I've seen this. So it continues afterwards. It's not just that retreat; it's kind of the connections you make after.
Yeah. Definitely. If I was comparing this to a sporting event, I would say this is the Olympics of the trading world. Amazing. Cool. Cool. And in terms of you've been to lots of events and stuff, what do you think makes this retreat different from all the other events that you've been to?
One, it's in Portugal. And the weather, to be fair, the weather it was great on the last day. I felt less, I wasn't going to hold that to you guys. It was funny as I put up a picture on social media, like goodbye grey skies, and you were already there and you knew that it was great when I arrived. So I was sucked in, but being there was great. It's a great environment. Having the day where you're sat and you're focused together, and like you said, you've got it up on the screen. We're all looking at deals. It made me very conscious of my marketing. That's one thing from probably me as an auctioneer. When Saif is like, "This is what you look for when you want to look at the bad marketing. You want to go for those ones." And I'm thinking, I'm gonna chat with my team when I get back and make sure none of ours look like that. But yeah, I think having that time where you're kind of sat and focused, but then, going for pizza afterwards, having those evenings together as well, it's not the type of people where you leave and, you're not talking about business when you leave. Everyone's still talking about business in the evenings, because they want to, because they're driven. So yeah, I think having the knowledge and having people from all over as well. Obviously, I come from the Southwest, and I meet connections from all over the UK. So that was really nice as well.
Amazing, really good. Well, it's the next retreat, guys, is the 5th to 11th of April. If you're interested, drop us a message under the link below. What else, Jake? What else do we want to cover?
I've got a gut feeling that this time the weather's going to be nicer. I think
it sounds like it was strategically planned for April from Piotr.
I think we could sell the sunshine this time. October may have been a bit of a rough one, but I think the sun might shine. I think just to talk, we've got a new speaker that's coming this time, Adam Lawrence, who's 700 kind of units that he's kind of built up as a portfolio. He's going to come and do a live with us next week. to talk
I think
about.
the good thing about Adam as well is, like, even though he built out 700 properties as a portfolio, he's quite active in trading stuff and kind of he builds up a portfolio, but also he refreshes it quite often. And also he would buy something and then doesn't buy a big portfolio, but doesn't fit not everything fits his requirements, and then he trades them through the auction quite a lot. So what I like about Adam,
as well, to be fair.
yeah, and what I like about Adam, when I have a property in like the Midlands and Staffordshire, I call him up and I say, this is what we've got. What would you pay for it? 2 hours later, I get a price. A day later, we get the deal done. It's the best thing ever. So,
yeah, and he's super smart. He's a bit of a powerhouse. So I think his session's going to be really cool. And I'm still working on getting one more trader because, Saif and Oliver aren't enough. So see if we can drag somebody else across the line. But it's, we've got Scott from Roma Finance. He'll be doing a live stream with us. He was the founder of Roma Finance. And just to kind of sell it a little bit more, all of the attendees get balcony hotel rooms overlooking the ocean with a free breakfast. They get to hang out with us the whole time. We're pretty fucking amazing. We've got reviews, all of us. So, yeah.
Can we sell one more thing? Oliver Adams and his stories, his evening stories.
I swear to God, I've got a new back tattoo, right? Absolutely nothing connected to this retreat. I don't know why I'm sharing this story. I've got a new back tattoo. I'm trying to get it finished. And I was sitting there thinking, I remember this story that Oliver was telling about a band of baboons.
Yeah.
And I thought,
I've
got a giant monkey on my back right now. And I'm thinking, I don't want him to like flashbacks or something like that and try and pull a rifle out on us or whatever. But yeah, I thought maybe the tattoo is bad taste. But yeah, some of the stories he's got are just absolutely brain melting.
I'll pay $5,000 alone just to go and hear his stories. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the campfires in the evening talking about the horror stories and the money lost and the crazy deals done. You don't share those anywhere else unless you're drunk at 2:00 in the morning after eating 12 pizzas, that kind of thing.
From a hole in the wall. Yeah.
Amazing. When is your next auction, Olivia?
25th of March.
25th of March.
I'm already getting some lots ready for you for 25th of March, Olivia.
Can't wait.
Amazing. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today and agreeing to it a couple of days after your auction. Well, probably you have quite a lot of calls and things to do for the auction.
Yeah. Still tying up deals. Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, it looks like we don't have any questions from the audience, although we have suggested. Unless I can't see them. Can you see any questions? No.
No, I think Olivia's answered everyone already. He's done that good of a job.
I'll take that.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us. And we're looking forward to having you again in April in our retreat. And also you coming to the Auction Buyers Club boardroom event.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Yes, you get a daily dose of us, a monthly dose of us. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions about the retreat, drop us a message. And thank you for tuning in.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.